Hello and welcome to your bus home. This is Celtic 4, Kilmarnock 0. Another resounding victory for Celtic. I'm your host Terry and I'm joined as usual by Liam, the Punk Duck Warlord. How are you, mate?
Good. Thanks again for inviting me on the bus home. It's a long one, but that was good. I enjoyed that today. We can talk about the other things than that, but I think overall, yeah, I enjoyed the football. There's some dubious refereeing we can talk about. A new player, and then an injury record this year, terrible.
As always, thank you to everyone who has joined us or joins throughout the course of the show. If you like the show and you get enjoyment from it, give us a like, give us a share, help us grow a little bit. We've hit that 1,000 subscriber milestone, and the next target is 2,000. So we're still very young. We're still in the embryonic stages. Let's get the channel growing over the coming weeks and months. You can also be a Boys on the Bus member, which gets you a virtual scarf from $1.99 a month. Doesn't get you any extra content, but helps keep a little bit of diesel in the old bus. Okay, Liam, I'll give you my sort of summary on that. I enjoyed the game. Was looking forward to it. I wanted to get things back on track after Thursday night. I was confident that Celtic would put on a show and get the 3 points. I was confident as you can be in this weirdest of weird seasons that we're currently in. Enjoyable. Got an early breakthrough. Little moment of concern when Killie could have equalised, but over the whole piece, I thought it was pretty plain sailing. It was enjoyable. There were some good individual performances, and overall a really good end to what's been a bit of a whirlwind fortnight. We now get a break for a couple of weeks. I still think in the world of Celtic, the next 2 weeks are going to be very, very busy in terms of manager chat, manager movement, all of that kind of thing. Or maybe it won't be busy at all and we end up with the status quo of what we've got. But we'll touch on all of that. Let's look, as always, at the starting lineup. And this one got a few woes. Let's see. Lineup versus Killie. So we had Kasper Schmeichel in goal, Simpson Puzzy starting in an unfamiliar right-back position. Austin Trusty and Liam Scales took their customary positions at centre-half. Sirachi comes back in. McGregor, Hitati, McKeon is the new midfield. Tineckley on the left, Maid on the right, Johnny Kenny through the middle. The obvious starting point there is Simpson Puzzy. He's the one that jumped off that page straight away. And this is a guy who, for all intents and purposes, has been ostracised from the first team squad. We haven't seen him start a game. We haven't seen him come off the bench. I think we might have only seen him on the bench once. And I don't even know if he was actually on the bench because it was one of the European games before the squad had to be I think before the squad had to be finalised. Anyway, whatever it was, we haven't seen him, long and short of it. But yet and withal, he's been thrust into the lineup today. What do you think of the lineup overall, Liam? And what were your thoughts when you seen the name of Simpson Puzzy in that lineup?
Shocked this morning. I really was. But then I'm thinking, okay, well, this is Martin O'Neill. This is maybe we're showing up some of the stuff, the liability that sometimes we had when we had Rodgers as our manager. There was a reluctance to play some of these players, and then when you see him out there today, I'm looking at him, okay, well, he might not be in the right position, but there's a lot of stuff that I've seen about him that I liked, and you can say, okay, yeah, you can see this is why as a player on Man City's books. He had a couple of points where he was rash. There was a couple of was one where he missed a header, he went under the ball. But I think it was a bit of professionalism. Somebody just got a wee shoulder into him, and that's all right. You'll adjust to that the more times he's playing against physical men, and they're a pretty physical top line. I thought he looked great, and was I surprised? Yes. I was surprised at how he played. Not really.
Yeah, I've kind of been championing this guy without ever really seeing an awful lot or knowing an awful lot about him. But based on pedigree, I felt that there was no way this guy wouldn't be good enough to come in and play for Celtic, certainly at this level. And whilst there was nothing spectacular today, I think you could just tell that he's got a bit of class about him. Yeah. Some nice one-touch and two-touch passing. Again, nothing spectacular, nothing to go over the top about, but he looked more than accomplished to be able to come in and play for Celtic, which then begs the question, why have we not seen him at any stage, even on a bench or coming on as a sub? Very, very strange.
Terry, let me ask you a question then. Do you think this is something that is used to sort of like, you think that's something we're doing the board a favour by playing this guy today, even though we didn't play him in the position we got him for? And it was almost like they're like, look, we tried to make it a good transfer window. He wouldn't play our players. How much do you think of that is out there? And like, do you believe that might be happening?
What I think, and it's just again, my own thoughts are that Brendan Rodgers, these four players were not players that he was particularly bothered about bringing in. Now, we have the line that he signs off all incoming players, but some of those are going to be, Brendan, we've identified a couple of lads in Japan. We think they've got promise. We're going to bring them in and see if you can work with them. And he's going, yeah, Nick, no problem. Bring them in. I'll work with them. That then gets turned to Brendan has signed off and brought these players in. I think he's then made a point of these four, the club signing four, I'm going to call them. And I think what we've seen in the last couple of weeks is that those four players may not be as bad as the previous manager has possibly led us to believe. I mean, Osmond, we didn't see anything of. He came in, and again, a bit like Simpson Puzzy, he looked more than capable of playing, more than capable of playing domestically in the short periods that we've seen. Mm-hmm. Johnny Kenny isn't one of those four, but he also was someone who we didn't see an awful lot of, and he's kind of only got his opportunity through injuries and things like that. But again, starting to look, small sample size, but starting to look as if he could score goals at SPL level if we get him the chances. Completely different on Thursday night because he was playing in a team that just weren't creating any chances. I think what we've seen from Johnny Kenny in the goals that he scored against Killie today, the two against Falkirk and the one against Rangers, is that he's a penalty box striker. He's a finisher, and if we create the chances, he'd score striker goals. The thing I liked about that goal that he got today, it's a centre forward goal. It's where you want your centre forward to be. The ones against Falkirk, picking up scraps. He's in and around there, in and around the edge of the 6-yard box. Again, the one with Rangers, corner, edge of the 6-yard box, gets the header. Going back to the other guys, and what we might actually see as well when we look at the injury to Sriracha is we might see Inamura now appear on the bench if this is another hamstring injury. So we might have to have another look at him, because in a weird way, and again, this is a weird season, but this is how weird this season is. We're now relying on Kieran Tierney to come in and replace our best left back at the club. And with Kieran's own injury record, we're probably going to have Inamura. At least
I'll make it even more surreal for you, Terry. Our best winger is playing in Poland right now.
Who's that, Palmer?
Aye. He's lighting it up there, supposedly.
Yeah, I think these four guys have found themselves caught up in a dispute, essentially, between previous manager and the recruitment team board, who have been involved in bringing in these players. And he's made a point that these four guys, I think he's just basically said, I'm not using these four guys unless I have to. and he didn't. Whereas you could argue if everyone was available, Martin Neal may not have used them either, but he has. And what we've seen of the ones that he's used, they've looked okay. I thought we might have got a look at Shin today. I thought it would have been fair enough to give him 20, 25 minutes, give him a run out, see what he's got. But who knows? That'll maybe come in the upcoming weeks. We started off well, Liam. Dyson Midas should score within the first 5 minutes, gets a chance, blazes it over the bar like the Dyson of old. Then we hit the post through Johnny Kenny, and then within a minute or two, we go 1-0 up. Like I say, Johnny Kenny, where you want your centre forward to be. Tanetke, he tried to play in Hitati. The defender got a bit of a block on it. Good work from Hitati, though. He perseveres. He cuts the ball back. Johnny Kenny's there to fire it into the net. Good start.
Great start. You know, you talking about Johnny Kenny there, Terry. You know, he gives me football-wise in that sort of snap reaction time. He reminds me of Lee Griffiths in the box when he first came to Celtic. Right, he scores a lot of the similar goals. He'll score nice wee scrappy ones where he manages to get his hip or his whatever it is around it, you know, and make that shot in close. And it looks like he can hit one for distance as well. A wee bit of a daisy cutter or take one just sort of the nudge. He's a good header of the ball as well, you know. So, yeah, he's going to be one of these guys that's just going to he's going to score goals. He's not always going to play great for us. But, yeah, he looks like he's got a touch in him to score a goal. And I think that one goal took all the pressure off right away. Perfect timing. You could see we were building on stuff. You know, it let Simpson Puzzy come into a game. I thought Sriracha was playing really well. You could see what the team was trying to do. So it was a great time to get that goal. And yeah, and I thought it was a good opportunistic goal for Kenny.
Yeah, and from that point, you're kind of thinking, pressure's off. Hopefully, this is going to be plain sailing from there on in. But we're then dealt a blow with the curse of the hamstring injury, which, I mean, it's just, is it coincidence? Could there be something behind this in terms of the guys warming up and stuff? Are they? I don't know, but he's pulled a hammy within 20 minutes. Osman pulled a hammy within 30 minutes of coming on during the week. There's hamstrings pinging everywhere, almost like Postecoglou first 2 months when he came in and introduced Ange Ball. God knows how long this guy's going to be out now. Pull, tear, rip, whatever. The hamstrings are pinging left, right, and centre. Have you any thoughts? Do you think it's just one of those things? It's just coincidence. We're just going through a run of bad luck, and these things happen because they're not happening to Hearts at the minute. I've been obviously keeping an eye on them.
Yeah.
I watched a bit of their game today because obviously they started an hour before us. Again, I've no idea why today's start time was 4 p.m. when the rest of the SPL games were all 3. Don't know. Somebody maybe in the comments knows why that was. But I watched a bit of them up until halftime in their game, and they were okay. I don't think they're a brilliant side. I think the day we played them, they were better than us. And I think they've got confidence and momentum. I think they're better than they have been for some time. I don't think they're a brilliant side. And if we can get some kind of run going, then I would, at this point, as confident as I can be, we will catch them, hopefully. Again, in 2 weeks' time, I could have a totally different outlook on that. We could have somebody in charge that none of us have ever heard of, and no on our board. It could be a complete project, some guy that hasn't a Scooby, and but based where we're at right now, based on what we've seen, based on Brendan Rodgers being removed or walking away, and if he has walked away, and I've questioned, did he really walk away or was he pushed or whatever, but it could well be we could reflect in 6 months' time. Let's say the terminology used is correct and Brendan Rodgers resigned. By doing that, he might actually win us the league. because I don't think he could have won it. The way things were going for him, I don't think he could have won it. And it could well be that him resigning is the moment where our season turns and we win the league because of it. But anyway, that's all down the line. I've asked you about 3 questions there and then I've kept talking. Hamstring injuries. Coincidence? Coincidence?
I don't know. We must have extra sticky carpets or something in the new training ground. It just seems very unlikely that all these people are suffering hamstring injuries at the same time, if it's not reflective of your training practices or something. Don't know what it is. Yeah, none of them look like they came from any sort of like serious overstretching or dodgy tackles, you know, like just like Jota. Innocent stuff in the middle of the park. I mean, Sriracha, I could see what he was trying to do there, but I think that snapped before as he was just doing the overlap. Yeah, it's hard to watch right now because you're seeing him coming in all different positions to all sorts of different styles and types of players. It's no your guys that are like shutting, like we're playing an overly aggressive, trap at the front. You know, where we're shutting them down as quick as that. No, it's not that because they're coming for guys in every position. You know, so I don't know.
Who all have we lost to hamstrings, Liam? Who all have we lost to hamstrings? Did Maida have a hamstring injury or not when he was out? I don't know if his was, but Carter Vickers was
hamstring, right?
Carter Vickers was hamstring, didn't
he? Yeah.
Osmond,
Johnson,
Sriracha, Alistair Johnson, Ian Acho, and then Engels did have a hamstring injury, but he must just have had a small strain because he's come back on again and played today. So we're worried about him. But that's a long list of players all to have the same an injury in the same muscle. Essentially, it does feel like more than just coincidence for that to happen.
I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things. You know, feel like one of those science-driven data type things that should be able to show up. You should be able to come out and look and address that. It's the sort of things I'd be asking. You know, like some of these questions, the Q&As. And that has like to the sports science department. And that is like, okay, is this something worth looking at? Like if the fans are noticing this, all right, what are these sports science guys noticing then? And it might be, is it a style in the play? Is it style? I don't know. There's usually an answer to it. You know, you might not agree with it, but you know, it might be the way we train. You know, or you know what, just could be bad luck.
66 Kev 1. Yeah, it's either a real unlikely coincidence or there's something going on in terms of what these guys are doing day to day where these hamstrings are pinging all over the place. Anyway, we then have a moment of comedy. It's a moment of comedy now because we won the game. It wasn't funny at the time. Tierney cuts in, hits a shot, keeper pans it away. Johnny Kenny nicks in again in front of the keeper and flicks the ball across for Dyson Maida to tap into the empty net. And I've absolutely no idea what Dyson Maida does, but all I know is the ball came out backwards instead of going into the net. What happened?
Honestly, that was I looked at it looked like a circus trick. And it's like, how did he do that? He managed to just screw himself entirely around the ball without actually touching it. It's like, all right, okay. And then you just figure, Aquino, yeah, that's exactly the ones Dysan's going to miss. You know, it's like old Dysan's back.
Dyson of old, yeah. And then I think he has been looking a wee bit more like his old self. And that just confirmed it for me because that was typical Dyson Maida moment. Concerningly, though, then, Liam, a long ball from the opposition goalkeeper just completely takes our whole team out and Killie hit the bar. The guy hits an excellent effort, cannons off the bar. That's how easy these games can turn. And it is concerning that just a simple long ball from one end of the pitch to the other can result in us almost losing a goal.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't mind seeing them now and again as long as we learn for the type of balls as well. That was one of those things that's to remind that, okay, Trusty, you know what, you're getting man of the match, getting the games. That still means you've got to be talking the other players around you through the game as well, you know, so that sort of stuff doesn't happen. And, It's good when you see them when he's just missing it or it hits the bar. It's that times just sort of like, all right, get yourself a wee bit better focus and all that, and realise that, okay, that's a flaw now with the guys around you. That's a way you can be beaten. So now he knows better, I think, how to position himself better for those moments, because he looked like he learned from it. They didn't get as much at that point as well. And, and I think he brought Simpson Puzzy through the game well as well by talking to them, because there was times where you could see them changing and all that, But, yeah, I thought that was good. I thought, just going on to Simpson Puzzy for a wee bit, Terry, I thought he played really well. There was times where the ball came to him where you could see you wanted him to take his man on or go on the overlap, and there was just a wee bit of nerves or frightening there, I like, I remember Jeremy Frimpong's first game in that same position, and when they gave him the ball in that position, he had a completely different look in his eyes and his face. It was like, no, I'm going to take this guy on.
In his defence, so this guy is definitely a centre back. He's not a right back. And Martin O'Neill made a point in the pre-match build-up. He made a point of saying, the guy's a centre back. I'm asking him to do a job today at right back. I think he had to take Ralston out. He had to take him out for his own good. In the same way that I think it was the right thing to bring Ralston back on again today when the result was in the bag, to try and rebuild his confidence, because, again, we're going to need all these players at some point going forward. But he was at pains to point out that this lad's not a right back. So I wasn't expecting to see him overlapping. I wasn't expecting to see him get to bylines and cut the ball back and fire in dangerous crosses. He's a centre back playing right back. So for me, it was always going to be pretty safe. Get the ball, keep the ball, give it to the winger, or play it inside. And I just thought is, again, without doing anything that was really of note or stood out, I just thought he showed a range of passing, comfortable taking one touch and pinging the ball, or taking a touch to control it and knocking it about. But I think it wouldn't be fair to judge him as a right back when he is a centre back. Now, whether we get to ever see him at centre back, that remains to be seen. I mean, what am I talking about? Either Scales or Trusty will pull a hamstring in the next month.
Mm-hmm. But hey, Terry, do you know who I did like seeing at that right hand side of the park in that position for a wee bit of a flourish? We saw what Austin Trusty might look like going up and doing that touchline. I think he's trying to show his USA coach some versatility on his positioning as well, because that ball that he took off of Simpson Puzzy and then went down the line with it, and then it was like maybe one give and go too much, but it was a bit where he just skipped past two defenders and right down that touchline like he was like prime time Didi Agat. I thought it was looking quite good. Do you remember that bit?
Yeah, I do. And it was on my list to bring up, but you've brought it up, so we'll bring it up now. I've been hard on this guy. I've been quite harsh on him. The weakest piss description that Brendan gave him, I was in Brendan's corner with that one.
Did he actually say that, Terry?
Was
that actually quote?
If you lip read, if lip readers have said, that's definitely what he said.
Okay.
So you obviously couldn't hear what he was saying, but you could see on the camera, and it looked as if it was weak as piss. And he was weak as piss, and he may still well be weak as piss. But since he has come back into the team, I have to say I've been impressed with him. And again, we were told by Brendan that left-footed centre-backs shouldn't be playing on the right-hand side, to the point where we played someone who was completely out of his depth away to Hearts. That pretty much cost us the game. But anyway, that's a different conversation. Trusty's come back into the side after his challenges with injury. I think he's been very, very good since he came back in. If Carter Vickers hadn't gone out, there's every chance we wouldn't have seen Austin Trusty come into the team again. And a lot of people were asking questions, and quite rightly so, around Carter Vickers' form, because pretty much from when he arrived, he has been the main man, the rock at the back. But there have been flaws creeping into his game. And we have seen more occasions than we would probably want, why he probably hasn't made a career in the EPL. Aside from the injuries, there's just been little things creeping in Europe last season and in Europe or domestically this season. Boston Trusty's come in and he just looks to me, playing in Carter Vickers' position, he looks a wee bit more mobile. He's light on his feet. He showed today with that run. He's got quality. He's got ability. It remains to be seen if he's still weak as piss or whether he's a bit stronger than that. But his form at the moment, he got Stadium Man of the Match today. I'm pretty sure I heard that.
Yeah, I've seen that
at the end, that he got Stadium Man of the Match, and I had it as a sort of decision between him and McGregor. Again, someone I think has stepped up his performances in the last couple of weeks with the change in manager. I think McGregor has noticeably stepped it up. I thought he was excellent last week against Rangers, took it by the scruff of the neck at times, and again today I thought he was very, very good. But I thought Trusty was the correct man of the match, and that's a few that he's had since he's come back in again. Really, really impressed with him. And not just that run, just his general play, his reading of the game. And I think the ball's just moving faster. There's still passages of play between himself and Scales, but it just feels a little bit quicker to me. And there doesn't seem to be as much going back to Schmeichel. That's my kind of observations. But I think he's been central to the improvement that we've seen. And for all we know, that Carter Vickers injury, I mean, when I've heard about him being out for 5 months, I've just gone, fucking hell, that could be catastrophic for us. I feel a lot better about it now because pardon the pun, I'm starting to trust this guy.
There you go. So I don't know, the Trusty thing for me, I've liked him in bits when I've seen him come on. Maybe he's playing in the wrong position. Maybe he's that player that we need to be playing in the spot instead of Ingles. You know, we're asking
midfield.
What's that?
In midfield.
Aye.
Trusty.
If CCV comes back, why are you playing in midfield, aye?
Have you been on the drink?
No. BBC Bud. No, honestly, I think I don't know. It's something about, I always want to see all your best players on the park getting a game. I don't know. I think he's a lot better when he's carrying the ball and he's moving it up a wee bit. You know, his defending's okay. He's good at heading the ball. There and I think it was just short up our midfield. Like if we were to play like one beside McGregor, let him play in that role, and he cleans up everything in the air.
I know you're very, very creative, Liam, in your career and everything like that. But I wasn't expecting to hear Austin Trusty as a midfielder. But you know what? You might be onto something.
You never know.
We'll beg to differ on that one. But I genuinely I'm really pleased with how he's playing. And here's another thing: Carter Vickers going out for him gets him back into the Celtic team, but he'll also have one eye on the World Cup during the summer. And Carter Vickers being out is one less person for him to worry about, albeit Carter Vickers, the American stuff kind of has fallen by the wayside for Carter Vickers. But Trusty is an opportunity now to get into that World Cup squad. I'm assuming America are on track to get into the finals, are they?
Okay, they're one of the host nations. So
I should have
I've already qualified.
Of course they are. I'm being ignorant. I wouldn't even have known where the World Cup was because I don't really bother with international football too much.
It's right out my window. I'm in one of the fan zones. So,
really?
Aye. But he's just been called up for the US team, so he's got a chance. I think they've got two teams. They're playing like Guatemala or someday, that just like warm ups and that. And I think he's showcasing himself in this next 2 weeks. So I think what you're seeing, what we saw in the last couple of games, is a pretty motivated Austin Trusty. So just like we talk about other players and that, this boy's got a big opportunity now to see what he can do and then kick on. Feel sorry for Alistair Johnson. He seems like he's going to be out for a while. He could end up missing a World Cup. You know, that Canada's already in. I think that was part of the problem. I think he was coming back too soon to make that Canadian those Canadian games against Wales and stuff, and instead of waiting till he's done. But
I've seen a comment earlier there. I've seen somebody in the comments earlier, I think, said that Johnson and Osmond were due to get surgery this week, so that's
not good.
That's going to be bad, and that's they're not going to be back in weeks after that. I kept the comment up there, but I seem to have taken it down. Where the hell did it go? What was it? Can you remember? It was sitting there for ages. Oh, it was about Strachan's laptop. I'm starting to think now. I'm starting to think Gavin Strachan was ahead of his time, because now everybody has got an iPad. Every club has somebody sitting on an iPad, and I don't remember that being the case 2 years ago. It was Strachan's iPad or laptop. He was ahead of the game. They're now all over the place. Every club has them. He was just ahead of his game, or ahead of his time. Sorry.
No, it's great. That's a brilliant insight there. I think you're bang on the nose with that amount of grief and memes created around Gavin's iPad, and the amount of like bile directed up and take your iPad away, and it's like, yeah, thank God he hasn't taken that iPad. In fact, we should make sure that somebody wrestles that off him before he leaves, just to make sure, I'm sure our board, somebody will already have thought of that.
So we've been talking about the centre back that started at right back. We've been talking about the right back who's out with a hamstring. We've been talking about the right back who was shite on Thursday and came back in as a sub today. That means there's one right back that was nowhere to be seen, and that was Colby Donovan. So again, Jerry comes in. Are you disappointed Donovan seems to be getting overlooked for Ralston? Yeah, I am, because I liked what I've seen from Donovan. Now, what we don't know is he might have a knock or something. Maybe that's why Puzzy's come in today. Donovan might have a knock or something. I don't know. I don't think it's always bad for a young player like that who's come in and done well to get taken out again as well. That can sometimes happen. Sometimes just to bring them in, take them out again, let them have a bit of time to reflect, and then throw them back in again. Again, he's one. Again, I expect to see Colby Donovan again at some stage. It's going to be all hands to the pump here, certainly between now and January, and I would suspect between now and May, we're going to really, this squad's going to really, really be stretched, and it is stretched already. But we're going to need everybody at some point. There is going to be a point where we need Inamura. There's going to be a point where we need Shin. And there'll be a point as well where we need Colby Donovan. Absolutely.
So, Terry, I think what you're saying with Ralston is the Aaron Moy effect. I think you're seeing right now is you've got a guy that's like basically been a really, really good servant for Celtic. I hate that word servant, but a really good player for Celtic. He's done much better than anybody we can anticipate for him. And right now he's got a chance right now to go and play for Scotland and maybe get to a World Cup with Scotland. Who knows? So he's right back starting for Scotland, and that might just be a favour to Stevie Clarke. It's like, okay, make sure you get Ralston some time in that, because he's going into some very, very important Scotland games for us. And I think that's just the old alliance of managers saying, "Aye, no bother, pal."
Okay.
Happens, right?
Yeah, 100%. Big shout out to Stephen McVeigh, big fan of the bus, watches in on the post-match shows. The greatest Gaelic footballer ever to come out of Randallstown was our Stephen. Okay, Celtic make it 2-0 just after half-time. Another guy that kind of needs a little bit of confidence, bit of a shot in the arm. Kieran Tierney, left foot strike from edge of the 18-yard box. Excellent goal. Really pleased to see him get a goal. What I'd like to see is him really kick on from here, and he's probably going to be playing. If Sirachi's out for any length of time, Tierney's going to get a run of games here, assuming he keeps himself fit. Fair to say we haven't seen anywhere near the best of Kieran Tierney yet.
I think today's probably the best we've seen him, maybe other than the first game or two. Yeah, that goal took me by surprise. You seen it, you seen him lining up, and then no, I'll never put that. And then bang, just that was a laser cut. Yeah, I'm surprised. I was shocked. I thought that's not going in for there, but Yeah, we see it in the replay. Perfect position. That's a proper, Premier League experienced players type of goal you'd expect to see. Somebody
He's got that. He's got it in his locker, Liam. I think back to in his first time round the 40-yarder that went into the top corner. Yeah. Was that against Killie as well? It was either Killie or St Mirren, that goal. It was a midweek game, I'm pretty sure. And he's absolutely launched this one from 40 yards into the top corner. Somebody in the comments with a better memory than me will know. I think it was Killie.
Remember that one though, Terry.
I think it was Killie, but it could have been St Mirren. But what a goal that was. I've been waiting to see something from Tierney where you've just gone, yes, he's back. And that's probably been his highlight since coming back. What do you make of the rumours around Andy Robertson? I think there could be legs in that. As stupid as that sounds, because we've brought Tierney in on a free, but we'll be paying him serious dough. Are we really going to bring in another left back on serious dough as well? And because they're both getting on a little bit, are those going to be the two guys to job share? Is that why we've brought Srirachi in on loan? Because we think there's a chance that we could get Andy Robertson. It sounds a bit fanciful that we would have both Robertson and Tierney. I wouldn't dismiss it.
Well, I think Robertson's about 4 years older than Tierney. I think it's a big age gap.
He is older, yeah.
There's an age gap between them two because Tierney's actually quite young. We're getting Tierney. But
if you had all Tierney's injuries on, his body's probably somewhere near the same age.
I don't know. It's one of the weird things where you feel like you're a hypocrite when you talk about Celtic and your love for it, when you're a fan and all that. And then, like, why wouldn't a fan sign for a club? And then, all right, you're a guy now that's wanting to sign for the club. And now you're like, hi, I know, but you might be past it. And it's like, they're going, no. So, I don't know. It's like, do you believe Andy Robertson when he says he could still come and put in like a really good season for Celtic? I mean, maybe we're seeing Tierney kick on now. I mean, it could give us an opportunity to move Tierney to a back three. And that would be a much better way for Celtic to maybe move forward. We've been talking about this for ages. It's a one way to sort of get out of that Brendan Rodgers, like any of that sort of leftover, vibe around the team. That would really sort of disrupt it right away. The players would really understand that they're making an actual shift and something's actually going to change.
It's a good question, Big Rab. If you had the choice of bringing in Andy Robertson or Srirachi, which one would you go for? Celtic fans have taken Srirachi to their hearts. They like a guy that just comes in and gives us all, and he certainly seems to be that. Other guys in the chat, Robertson looks done at Liverpool. Well, you say that, smell of glove, but he seems to be first choice at the minute. So they obviously brought in Kirkov at 50 million to be the Robertson replacement, and they started with him. But Robertson's been starting more games recently than not. Yeah, it's an interesting one.
We'll see where he plays for Scotland. He's looked suspect.
I'm too scared. I'm too scared to try this name. I have no idea what.
What is it?
I don't know how to say this name. I'm actually scared. Charles X, Gary 23, Robertson, no for me. Who else have we got with thoughts on Robertson? If we get Robertson, it'll allow us to have more options like playing a back three, just as Liam said. Liverpool defence is awful. Yes, it is. They're struggling big time. And I mean, what they had last season, I think they had the best defence, or one of the best defences in the league in their season where they won the championship, and they had a solid back four of Alexander Arnold, Konate, Van Dijk, and Robertson. And then they've changed that this year with Kirkes coming in for 50 million on one side, Frimpong coming in for 35 million on the other side, and they've obviously lost Arnold, and Robertson's now more of a bit part player, albeit he has now sort of won favour back again in terms of the first team. But Tierney scores, Celtic are 2-0 up. Then we start to see the changes come in. Ralston comes on for Simpson Puzzy. Negrin probably could be counting himself unlucky to dropped out of the lineup. He's been one of our better players. He comes on for Luke McCown, who got a chance from the start. I probably feel McCown wasn't really involved in an awful lot during the game. That'd be fair.
Yeah, I think you'd be fair in saying that. There was a couple of bits he ran about, but yeah, running about. Him and Reegan, I think, are very similar. Is they both get opportunities where they score goals, but they also get opportunities where you actually see the lack of quality they actually have. You know, so like the amount of times I've seen Reegan skying over the bar as soon as he comes in, or being the first one to take a shot in the outside of the 18-yard box and have it blocked. I think he did that. That was his first contribution when he came on, was to try and we were building it up and he tried to take a shot and just got blocked. Next thing you know, we're on the defence again. But yeah, I think McCown, Reegan, very much same for same right now.
Speaking of getting blocked, I'm just pouring a wee Guinness here. Just give me 2 seconds. There we go. Not an awful lot, Liam, from that moment kind of happened. Thought the game was going to peter out at 2-0. Then we get to the last 5 or 6 minutes and Killie start to open up a little bit and start to take chances. You could argue that a little spell of 10 minutes where they had a bit of possession and were kind of taking the game to us a little tiny bit. But what that done was it opened up spaces and created opportunities for us to hit them on the counter. And the best goal of the game for me is Dyson Maida's first time finish from the right-hand side of the penalty area. But what a pass. What a pass by Arnie Engels. Not for the first time in the last couple of weeks. Absolutely cracking defence splitting ball from him. Really, really enjoyable goal.
Aye, that reminded me of the old days of, Jota to Kyogo. You know, like one of
the one against Ferencváros. So you think, and that's one of my favourite goals.
Me as well.
Of all time. I love that goal.
But I want to see it. I want to see when one of your players picks up movement and you see that. Aye, you can see they're on the same wavelength because bang, then he knows where he's going to go. And I don't know. Once you get that sort of understanding between players, you just got to try and connect them more and more. And it's like, all right, so how do you build on that? How do you see that now as the opportunity? I thought there was a lot of balls that we were playing today that went in behind the defenders, that we've actually changed our tactics, and you can see that the way we go. We're not going back, we're not taking it to the side, or we're not taking it to the point. We're actually making the through ball so that it has to intersect first. We're not trying to find a position then intersect. We're slicing first.
More direct. We're just playing the ball forward earlier.
Yeah, and
I'm enjoying it. That was just. I think this is one of the points. This is one of the frustrations people had with the Rodgers style of play. Is nobody's saying we want to become a long ball team, but you can be direct by playing quality passes quicker. And that was just a quality pass from Arnie Engels. And what a finish from Maida as well. And again, we were laughing earlier, the Dyson of old with the one that he cleared off the line when he was supposed to score. But that was him at his most clinical best. Like last season, when every time he got the ball, you just expected it to hit the net. And we nearly pulled the same trick off again 3 minutes later, only it was Ralston who played the pass this time. It was the exact same pass. And Maida, he just didn't get the same oomph onto the ball. And easy enough save for the goalkeeper. All
right, so here's a question for the football coaches out there, and I know you coach Terry as well. So does that style?
I would use the term loosely, Liam. I would use the term.
But I mean, anybody that coaches football is a football coach. The style that we are playing right now, that's a bit more rough and tumble. What it does is it takes the players and it puts you more in an engagement and a battle than Rodgers' style, which sort of is very protective of the player. It moves around and it gives the player security of knowing he's got a head up and he can see what's coming without him. Whereas ours makes the player go more into the unknown, with maybe their angle not being as like, you know, a normal angle. You're running into the chaos, knowing that the ball's going to be there, not knowing where the angle is. Do you think maybe that's the reason why we're getting so many injuries? Is it now it's because we're playing a much more different style by moving it forward all the time that requires you to put yourself in more dangerous challenges?
Possibly, Liam, possibly. But we were still getting these injuries. Some of these injuries happened under Rodgers. I mean, Carter Vickers only walked through games and he ended up pulling a hammy. You never seen him. Carter Vickers in his Celtic career has probably never got out of first gear at any stage. When have you actually ever seen him sprint? And maybe he's just so good that he never looks as if he's sprinting, but he covers the ground or whatever. But not all of these injuries have happened since Rodgers left. Some of these were happening under him as well.
Carter Vickers plays like one of the guys that's been that size since he was 12. You know what I mean? He's just a big tank, and you can just see
it's walking football. It's walking football. He'll still be playing the exact same game when he's 75. At the
he'll be the Zidane of walking football. I mean, it could be right now. I'm dying to play walking football. Can't wait to hold.
I wouldn't mind giving that walking football a go as well. Okay. Yang's on. Good old Yang. Nice turn down the left. Nice turn of pace. Gets away from his man. Drives into the box. Commits the defender. Wins the penalty. Everything that has been good about Yang from the minute he walked in the door, you've seen it right there. And that's where the frustration comes with this guy, because he showed you what he can do, but we only ever get to see that in little glimpses. And if you just watch that cameo today, you would think, do you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing a bit more of that guy. But see if he started the next match, he'd be absolutely shite and he'd do nothing. And that's the frustration with Yang. And that's why I was one of his, I wouldn't say biggest fans, but I did see something. That I thought I could see why a team would bring him in. I could see why a scout watching him would go, do you know what? That guy's got something. And I fought his corner with Bhoys for a long, long time. And then I just finally had to admit defeat, because it's just false dawn after false dawn after false dawn. You think this is going to be the start of something from Yang, but this is just the player he is. He can produce real moments of magic, probably at times when the pressure's off. Seems to be, that's what I would say. I can't think of any real moments of brilliance for him in a moment that really, really mattered in a game that was on the edge. There may be some, but his kind of moments tend to be in a game like today where the game's already done and he can relax and he can go on there and express himself. That's not to take away. Excellent piece of skill, really good run, wins the penalty. The commentator, I was actually watching it on I was watching it with Kilmarnock-based commentary, shall I say, and they fell for the old trick of McGregor holding the ball. They said McGregor's about to take the kick. Obviously, we knew that this is something, don't know why it's been brought in, but McGregor seems to get the ball, keep it away from everybody else, whether he's trying to take the pressure away from someone or whether there's a process where he's checking to see who wants to take it. I don't know, but now when we get a penalty, Cal McGregor grabs the ball and there seems to be some kind of process, and then he gives the ball to whoever's going to take it. Hatate was on the pitch. Hatate scored. Was Hatate still on? He was. I'm pretty sure he was. I think Hatate was still on. He scored a penalty on Thursday night, but it goes back to Engels, who was the original penalty taker at the start of the season, before Iheanacho took them. But I don't actually know if Iheanacho took one when Engels was on the pitch. Who knows? But it goes to Engels, and very emphatic, really emphatic. Again, if you can't score a penalty when you're 3-0 up and the referee's about to blow his final whistle, then you're never going to score one. But it was an excellent penalty kick. Makes the result look all that better. It means Martin's got 2 4-0 results in the SPL in his second time. He's got a cup semi-final victory over Rangers in extra time, and he's got that mess of a performance on Thursday night. So let's then bring that round. That's Martin's 2 weeks. 2 really convincing SPL victories at home against lower league opposition. A victory over Rangers, albeit in extra time, in a game that should have been done in 90 minutes. But let's take the positives. And then just your normal standard Celtic away capitulation in a European game against a team much, much smaller than us, who should not be beating us as easy as that. What does that mean for the management team of Martin O'Neill, Sean Maloney, Fozzie, and Steve McManus? Are they still here when Celtic play a game?
2 weeks from now? I sincerely hope not.
Yeah. Let me just bring up the fixtures. This is the next few fixtures. Let me remove that thing out of the way there. So Celtic come back on Saturday the 22nd. Look at that for a kickoff time, Liam. 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. I'm usually lying on the sofa, sleeping at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night, face down into a chicken curry. See, whoever picked this time, they've had absolutely no consideration of somebody like me that has to come onto a podcast. You're talking 10:30 on a Saturday night. My God, that's going to be some sale that night, huh? So you've got that one when you come back. St Mirren away, really, really tough game. And they'll have had very few players away on international duty. They'll have had Stephen Robinson working solidly with the bulk of that squad to do one job on Celtic. That's going to be a tough game. Then you've got Feyenoord away on the Thursday night, which, if you could just get rid of those Thursday night games out of the way, I'd be much, much happier. Then you've Hibs, another really, really tough one away from home. Then you've got Dundee at home, and then you've got that Hearts game. So see, whenever we come back, the next 4 weeks after we come back, they're going to be absolutely pivotal in terms of this season. And I'm not totally certain what the next game after that is, but that's going to be pretty close to the cup final. And then we've got our game in hand in December as well, around about the middle of December, to try and our game in hand on Hearts.
Whatever the day to sort of, first of all, I'm hoping if today was O'Neill's last day, I'm glad. I think that was brilliant send off. That's everything expected on an O'Neill team. You know, even down to what you mentioned earlier about Callum McGregor picking up the ball. The captain stands there. He tells you who's going to take the penalty. Nobody's arguing up, nobody. He picks up. He's looking at him. It's a sign of respect. That was a proper old school Martin O'Neill move, that one. He shows it. McGregor's looking. He knows who he wants to take the penalty. He knows who's on form in that. And yeah, it just sort of comes about building, I think, a respect or a hierarchy amongst this team that I think we ended up lacking somehow. I think we removed a lot of the football sense, a lot of football, you know. Martin O'Neill's been equipped to very much expose this, you know, the expected goals, right? Thing, right? Now you're sort of seeing it's like, okay, no, but there's also other ways. There's a football knowledge out there as well that goes above and beyond, you know, any analytics and stuff like that. And he's one of these old guys that still has it and champions it. He doesn't have the momentum to sustain it and do it every day. But to come in and do what he did as a 73-year-old, yeah, I think he's letting this board off the hook for what could have been, you know, bin lids and pitchforks, you know. So I think he's taking the pressure off the board quite significantly by showing up and being that sort of nostalgic figurehead that's lovable. And then, yeah, and he's given it back in return. Didn't get the result we wanted in Europe, but we know we had deficiencies there already. Okay. And then there's some really key injuries as well in his brief time. All right, so, but then he comes back today and he shows Celtic how to play the Celtic way at home. in front of a home crowd and show their fans what it was like to. I mean, these players, what it's like to play in front of the fans. And I didn't hear anything in the stadium. It was like watched it on Celtic TV. They don't really do a great job of sound. But anyway, yeah, it was. I don't think he should stay that much longer. I'm hoping that they've got somebody.
Why do you not think? Let me pull you on that one then. Why do you not think he should stay? I've got my own thoughts on it. I'm keen to get yours.
Because I don't know if he can sustain what he needs to do to get that team battling for, to take on Hearts. Rangers, yeah, I think they'll be back in it. I mean, you're already seeing, you've seen a notice in the refereeing again today as well. That's 2 or 3 games in a row now where you're watching referees slowing down everything in the middle of the pitch. There's a lot of stuff that we're getting in the middle of the pitch. The one with Maeda today where Brown looked like he'd been shot. He cartwheeled up in the air as Maeda skipped by him, and Maeda got immediate yellow card for it. And you see it in the replay, nowhere near him. Say as well, Tony Ralston didn't look too clever diving into the box. I hope that was just a mistake. Hey, I'd hate to see that be part of your game, Tony.
Agree.
That's his practicing correctly.
I'll give you my thoughts. I'm really torn because part of me thinks whilst these domestic results have been positive, if that trundles on indefinitely and we keep getting the results, then fine, no problem. But what I don't want to happen to Martin O'Neill is that at some point the support turn against him. And it could happen. And I don't think that's a fair position. I don't think it's fair that I genuinely step back from the whole thing. I don't think it's fair that Dermot Desmond has reached out to a 73-year-old man and brought him in to an absolute shit show of a club that is at war with itself. I think he has to have a duty of care to Martin O'Neill at some point. That said, I've been impressed with 3 of the 4 games. And I've been happy with 3 of the 4 games. And I do think if we kept the status quo, I think we'll win the league. And that would be brilliant. But what I'm scared about is Thursday night. Say we didn't get the result today. After Thursday night's performance, we don't get a result today. And say Martin's still in charge when we play St Mirren and we don't get a result then as well. Then it turns on Martin. The supporters will turn on whoever the manager is that isn't getting the results, even if they know deep down this isn't his mess. And I just would hate to see people turn on Martin O'Neill. And I just think it was irresponsible of Dermot Desmond, albeit it's worked. It has worked. I just felt it was a bit unfair and possibly irresponsible to bring that man in to this situation and expose him to it at the stage in life that he's at. And you could turn around and go, well, it's none of your business what age Martin O'Neill is, and it's up to him to make his own decisions. I don't know. I just think you've got a duty of care. And Martin's he's talked about how football, he's described it almost as a drug, and he'll have been excited. You just know he'll have been so excited by the last 2 weeks. And if Celtic turn around and say, Martin, will you stay till the end of January? Will you stay until the end of the season? He's going to say yes. Is that the right thing for him? I'm not sure that it is. Does he need the pressures of this current Celtic setup? I don't think he does. Then you've got the bigger picture. Are we going to do we have a preferred candidate at this stage? So the questions then are, who is the man that we want? Is he available now? Is he available in December, as Gordon Strachan seems to think? How does Gordon Strachan know that? I've my own thoughts on that. Probably not through Gavin Strachan, because I can't imagine the club would tell him.
Terry,
I think he's been asked first. I think the first phone call was Gordon Strachan before Martin O'Neill.
I think so too. I think that's who he's referring to. I think he was tied up with Dundee until then. And so it's him. He knows. It might be him. I mean, what we're doing right now is we're all sitting here and we're obliterating ageism and all that. We're saying, no, it's not because Martin O'Neill, this and that. And they're listening to that and go, but we Gordon do a great job right now. That would appease the fans as well. That would get this market. That would get that market. We could bring out a different tracksuit for Gordon, right? And we'd all buy that one as well.
I'm not sure Martin was the first.
That's the cynical part of me.
If Gordon got the first phone call and he said, "Look, I've got my job at Dundee. How long is this going to be for?" And the answer was, "Well, the guy we're bringing in, we can't get until December." Then that's how he knows. Who knows? Anyway, is the guy that Celtic want? Do they even know who they want? I'm not convinced they do. However, let's say they're well organised. Things are getting better. They know who they want. Is he available now? When's he available? Is it before New Year, after New Year, end of season? Can we strike a deal with our preferred candidate and get all the contracts and everything done? He's definitely coming in. Then tell everybody when he's coming in, and then if they agree with O'Neill, this is when the guy's coming in. Do you want to cover until that point? Then fair enough. There's no way it can be Martin O'Neill as a full-time permanent job. That just can't be the solution here. That isn't fair, and that isn't the right thing. That isn't the right thing for Martin O'Neill, and it's not the right thing for Celtic. It's not forward thinking. It's
Terry. What if they're looking to meet us somewhere in between? And I think this is what, and I will say this is what they're going to do, what they should do, but this is what probably could do, and that is sell us Sean Maloney +1, right? And right now they're looking to see, is it okay? They got to sell a package with Sean Maloney. So who they're going to bring in? They're going to have to bring in somebody. So they're shown right now that, okay, with the O'Neill thing, he works well, he's coming to us. Everybody's falling in love with Fuzzy again, right? Mark Folland, he's getting a lot of love on the internet. He's got
bringing a lot of positivity, isn't he?
What?
He's bringing a lot of positivity.
He is. And that's brilliant, right? Because I think you need that sort of I think you need that character. That's what I'm saying, just to bring some of the football back into the squad. You know, a bit of like I've noticed as well, especially in the Rangers game, Falkirk as well. Anytime some of these guys left the boot in and that, the Celtic players are much quicker to respond again now. That seems like an O'Neill team. They've been watching the highlights of the O'Neill season of what made a Martin O'Neill team. And one of those was very, very quick to defend your players and your pals.
So this Sean Maloney +1, is the +1 under Sean Maloney or above Sean Maloney?
That's the game. That's where we're playing. You know, but yeah, +1. that's the card game, isn't it? So is it +1 or -1? So is I was kidding with Phil when we were talking. I said, well, you know, who's Martin O'Neill's other love child? Well, that's Stilian Petrov, right? Boys had at Celtic, boys had at Aston Villa. So they've went for the full Martin O'Neill Kool-Aid. You know, I'm always impressed by Petrov when he's on as a pundit and all that. I'm kind of pro-Bulgarian that way anyway. But maybe you see something like him coming back and the two of them are taking the team. Or we go with somebody. I don't know. I like that. I like that guy. Who's the guy that came out against the Malmo guy? He used to be a player. Ericsson. I mean, I know he had a cheeky Rangers quip, but I always liked him as a player, and I liked what he got.
Young Dal Thomason. Dal Thomason.
Aye. Is he available?
No idea.
You know, try to think what you need for a good Celtic manager. Obviously, the way O'Neill handles the press, you can see a massive difference
and the thing, like, he just makes it look effortlessly. You know, it's like there's no, they're not lining up to play gotcha with him. You can just tell him he's still laser in on you, like, you know, just tear you apart. I like that.
Yeah, Stephen Kennedy comes in. If it's Martin till the end of the season, it's pointless because Martin would then be in charge over the January window. Yeah, exactly. So even if you've got somebody lined up for the summer, we need to do serious business this January. Would any business done in January suit the manager that's coming in this summer? Yeah, I think there has to be a decision within the next 2 weeks. There has to be a communication that tells us this is what's happening. Be that it's Martin till then, whatever then is, and here's the plan. I mean, at the minute, the two that look most likely, and again, if you take Gordon Strachan's timeline, the two that look to be in pole position are Knutson and Nancy, because they both run out of contract, I believe, round about now, November, December. So if Strachan's timeline is to be believed and the names that we've had circulated are correct, then those are the two that timeline would apply to.
I mean, Knutson seems to be one of these ones that we've been, media and everybody in podcast land seems to be driving towards. So I guess he's the Bobo Glimp guy. And all right, if that's the style of football that we think that we can adapt from and, you know, see where they are, and they're like, is it Norwegian League? You know? Yeah, I don't know. I don't see a big difference between that and when we got Ronnie Dyler. You know, it's still going to be a huge jump for the guy, you know, to come in.
He's done a bit more than Dyler, I think. Dyler done it with an unfashionable club in an unfashionable league. This guy's actually taken it a step up, and he's produced results in Europe against teams way, way, way ahead of his club in terms of potential. So I think he's done it at a higher level than Ronnie Dyler.
But hold on, Terry. See, in our WhatsApp chat, sorry I didn't get a chance to answer, but you were talking about that Wilfred Nancy.
Yeah.
Talking about the MLS, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, he's won the MLS. So did Ronnie Dyler. And Wolfram, the Mexican guy we had.
Efren Juarez.
Juarez, yeah. Juarez. They won it together. And then I think...
Was that after Dyler left Celtic, though?
Could it be? Yeah.
Yeah. Because when we brought Dyler in, we brought him straight from Strømsgodset, I think.
Yeah,
so
sorry.
At that point, we brought him in on the basis he'd won the Norwegian League with Strømsgodset.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, it was Efren Juarez I was talking about. So he's I don't know who he's managing now, but he was Ronnie's assistant for a while, and then I think he went on to win something and all. And I don't know, it's just sort of one of the crazy rumour parts that, you know, Celtic might be talking to him.
Okay, I think, Liam, the next time you and me talk will be after that St Mirren game. I think we'll have a much clearer picture by then. I'd be very surprised if we don't have an idea, our strong idea of what's happening. Either a new guy's going to be in, or we're going to have a timeline on when the new guy is going to be in. Brown Warrior, that is exactly right. Bodo did beat Jose Mourinho's Roma 6-1. Absolutely, they did. But again, is Knutson enough? Or did he succeed, or does he succeed at the club that he's in because he is given the run of the club? Because there's absolutely no way he's going to get that here. Do you know what I mean? Does he control everything there in terms of transfers, player acquisitions, recruitment, all that stuff? Or does he have a really strong team of people behind him? If he does, then we need to bring them as well, not just him.
I think that's what we need right now. I think we need the full thing. We need like the full. We're replacing the entire engine. We keep replacing the better, like the broken parts with better parts, but it's just all the same parts that keep breaking. We like to overhaul the entire thing, and that means bringing in everybody, and that means your manager gets more control that way because, again, as you said, coming in cap in hand and you're looking for them to do all your recruitment. I think the most important thing I'm wanting to see is so as soon as we identify who we're really looking at, I want to see where's his channels exist. Where's it into what football worlds? That was one of the things that was exciting about Ange coming in, is it opened up an entire new thing. Like for some of us, a lot of people had already lived there and that supported Celtic. They were able to scout right away and tell us how good it was. Same way over here in North America, and seen Alphonso Davies play for the Whitecaps when he was 16. So there is that, but I think we just need to, I think the most important thing, Terry, is we need to just communicate what we're doing this week. This would be a great time for the club just to come out and sort of just signal a wee bit of intent and say, right, okay, Mike Nicholson's going to make a speech, and we're just going to what? It's like that Planet of the Apes moment where it turns around and he talks.
I think November is going to be huge, the rest of this month, because not only are we wanting clarity around the manager position, not only have we got these massive games on the horizon that we put on the screen a few minutes ago, we've also got the AGM. I think this is going to be a blockbuster next 3 to 4 weeks for Celtic, and we're going to be all over it here on the bus. Liam, I'm going to call it a day there. Just before I do, I'm just going to fire up the current league table, which is starting to look a wee bit more healthy. Hearts played 12 on 30 points. Celtic played 11 on 23, so 7 points behind with a game in hand. Then you've got Hibs in third, followed by Rangers in fourth position. Falkirk in fifth, and Motherwell make up the top six. It's a lot more healthy looking. Yeah, we're not top, but we're starting to make inroads into that Hearts advantage. Rangers have become a lot more solid under Danny Roll. I think it may not be a bad thing if they go on a decent run of form as well, because I think if Hearts can feel the heat of both Celtic and Rangers coming behind them, that is going to intensify the pressure on them. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you everyone who's been in the chat and watching the show. We've been anywhere between 100 and 150 most of the way through there. Thank you very, very much. There'll be loads of shows with the boys on the bus over the next couple of weeks, despite the international break. And then I will be back following that St Mirren game in some shape or form around about 10:30 on that Saturday night. I'll have to rearrange my whole day to try and do that. But anyway, thank you all very much, and we will see you soon. Thanks a lot.